the one thing I always tell people on our track days I ask everybody to put their hands up if they were snorting coke the night before, and nobody ever does. And then I say,
Surprise.
who's been smoking weed the night before? Nobody ever does. And they all look at me and I say, the reason I've asked that question is if you were snorting coke last night, you'll be all right today. If you're smoking marijuana, you won't.
I don't know whether that's actually advice, Mike. We'll have to get some consultation on that.
Yeah.
So this week on Just Ride, we're joined by a man who says it takes 24 years for most riders to become competent, not expert, competent. He claims that half of riders can't brake properly, the official braking advice has been wrong for 50 years, and most fatalities on bends aren't about speed, they're about inability. He's trained the racers, the Rosper Advanced riders, and tested hundreds of bikers, and he's not afraid to call out the system. This is going to be dividing opinion, we think, but I think it'll be a good one anyway. Mike Abbott, founder of British Superbike School, on Just Ride tonight. Do you want to kind of give us a little bit of a background to what you're up to and what you've been doing?
Well, I got into this by accident via Job Centre Plus after a career in manufacturing. So it's a bit strange to be here. But when you get into it, you'll find that a lot is missing, but it takes you a while. I mean, I've been doing this for 16 years now, but it's only in the last sort of couple of years that I've really started pushing for change.
Right.
But you'll find most people want to change.
Yeah.
It's just getting a consensus and getting things done.
Yeah, I mean, you know, looking at a lot of the issues out there that's been obviously documented. We've got the new road safety strategy that's come out, and they're all talking about looking at changing the bike tests and changing maybe some of the training again. What's your kind of thoughts on that?
Big problem is it's political.
Right.
It's getting people on two wheels and trying to find a balance. But there are sort of two populations. There's the sort of moped riders,
yeah,
urban riding, lower speeds, more accidents, less serious, probably don't need detailed training. And then you get into 125s and above. You're out in the countryside,
yeah,
bends, braking, you know, high speed, and it's a different ball game.
Yeah.
So, but it is looking at being reviewed. I think the DVSA are looking quite carefully at it. But at the end of the day, it's going to be political.
Well, I know you mentioned before about the broken system and the fact that you've said that DVSA data shows it takes 24 years for 80% of riders to become competent. How is competent being defined?
It's through the enhanced rider scheme.
Right.
There's a number of different modules. You assess riders against all the modules.
Yeah.
You identify shortcomings, put them into the category, provide the rider with that specific training, report that back to the DVSA, and then they either get up to standard or they don't.
Yeah. So what have riders been doing wrong for 24 years then in terms of not being at that kind of level?
It's difficult. A lot of it is confidence.
Yeah.
Cornering's always going to be a problem. A lot of riders are frightened to lean the bike, and that really compromises them. And that's where a lot of the danger is.
Yeah.
But the braking thing, I've known about a long while. You'll find when you race, the first time I came down to park at Cadwell, I hit the brakes about 300 feet, first marker, and everybody went past me. And I thought, oh, that's a bit strange. And then by the third or fourth lap, you're braking at 150 feet and getting around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have that experience, and even the theory says you do not learn to brake in an emergency,
right?
Probably you've only got one opportunity.
Yeah.
And even if you have a second one, you still haven't learnt anything by it. All you've found out is you can't stop.
Yeah, interesting, because I know Tom and myself, I would say it was 10 years ago, but did the new test system. Obviously, going and doing your slalom and your braking, and you get the one go, and that's it. Right, you're done. You passed that.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that I've experienced in terms of someone teaching me how to brake. They just expect you, right, off you go. You can brake. You've proven that you can pass the test. And that's obviously from your point of view. I mean, you've obviously talked about this quite a bit in terms of people not having the ability to brake properly. How do we address that?
Well, you need to prove it first. Nobody accepts my findings.
Right.
It's got to be a proper program. We've got Cardiff University starting working on it now, but it needs to everybody on board. And basically, riders need to practice braking.
Yeah.
And they won't do it because they don't like it. It's scary. You can go over the handlebars. You can end up headbutting the tarmac. And why do it when you don't have to?
Yeah.
It's
I went through all my training. Bear in mind, I'm sort of pre-CBT by quite a margin. But I did all my advanced training, all my DVSA training, and nobody ever checked I could stop from high speed. They don't.
Yeah, it's really in the previous episode, and I talked about not having a front brake for a couple of months, and on my brand new bike when I was riding it elsewhere, and having to just use a back brake, and it was a real education in actually riding your bike and doing that, and obviously not safe either. But so I remember doing, as you've described there, doing around the slaloms and everything else. But I was fortunate that I got taught by a police rider. And I used to go out and he used to follow me on all of my lessons. I got followed by a police rider. And he used to always say to me, just brake in a straight line and make sure the bike is balanced before you're going into a bend. Using both front and back brake. And it seems to be this like real debate now about, is it just all the front brake? Is it applying the pressure in the front brake? And it's like, well, I think I just do things instinctively. I'm not saying I do everything right, by the way, but I just do some things instinctively. But I think that's probably been drilled into me by the gentleman that taught me. But it's really interesting. And one of the things I would like to ask, Mike, is when you talked about lots of accidents going into in bends, is there data that backs up, if it's a left-hand bend or a right-hand bend, or is it just bends in general?
Well, the only difference on the road is camber and the risk. Obviously, you run wide on the left-hand bend, you're into oncoming traffic. On a right-hand bend, it's the scenery.
Yeah.
But technically, there's no difference.
So, Mike, that happened to me just over a year ago. I was going around a left-hand bend. I happened to hit diesel on the road, and I lost the back end.
Yeah.
And the one thing they don't teach you or prepare you for, because it's obviously an accident, is what to do after the fact of when you've lost control, how to regain control. Because once I hit the bend, first thing I did was try to slow down and put the rear brake on and try to pull the front brake. But by that time, I brought the bike up right. I'd gone onto grass and I had no chance and ended up in a field. And that hit my confidence a lot. And I had to do further training after that just to build my confidence back up. But the biggest thing for me was I didn't understand why it happened, and I didn't also understand how to actually get out of the issue at the end of it. So when the back end stepped out, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the skills, and I'll hold my hands up. I didn't have the skills to know how to get out of that, and that was on a bend, and that's down to braking and cornering, like you said.
Yeah, well, there's a big debate at the moment about trail braking, which comes from racing, where you come in hard on the front brake, on the limits of grip, and that's been sold as the way to ride, but not at an extreme. Carry a bit of brake in, gives you a bit more grip, helps you to corner, which it doesn't. But that's, it's an illusion.
Yeah.
But if you're selling training, you've got to show that you have something that other people haven't. And if you look at it, it's it's not only in this country, it's elsewhere. They sell trail braking. It's different and it's clever, and racers do it, and
Yeah,
it's safer and it's better, and it gives you a lot more feel, which is all untrue.
yeah. I've seen quite a lot of videos on YouTube over the last couple of months, and everybody is advocating trail braking at the moment, and they give different.
Do you know why?
Go on.
It's on National Highways website.
Okay.
Biker Tech website.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think, people come up with scientific reasons, and, you can watch a video, you can sit in a classroom even, but actually taking that theory and putting it into practice on the road is where the rubber hits the road, literally, I think, because, I know for myself, I've watched videos, I've read books and everything, but it's not until you get out there and you start practicing some of these things, or you start thinking, well, actually, that doesn't work for me in that scenario. And as you say, trail braking might work on the racetrack, but does it really work on UK roads or on the highway?
And John Milbank from Bike Social says, stop blaming him. It's not him doing it.
Oh, right, yeah. My mate John.
A little message from John today.
But irrespective of all the arguments, if you're trail braking, you're going into the corner faster than you would otherwise.
Yeah.
And that puts you at risk.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you read roadcraft, you've got the grip trade-off.
Yeah.
If you're using grip in braking, it's not available for cornering.
That's right.
And there's a thing that we call the fox's face, which is some tests at Mugello, which prove the same thing. But that's a more extreme, but it's the same. You can't create grip. You can either use it or lose it.
So coming back to an earlier point there, Mike, we were talking about training and the number of years it takes to become a competent rider. I mean, Tom's the youngest rider in our group. How old are you, Tom? Am I allowed to ask you that?
Yeah, 27.
27. So you're a youngest. I'm one of the older ones in the room. Well, I'm actually looking to Andy. He's older than me. So.
Yeah, I'm the elder one of the group here, and I've been right. I'm okay. I can be classed as competent.
He's competent, yeah. But for me, my journey in biking, I took my test in 2000, or probably 1999. I then met my wife, who didn't like bikes, so I didn't get on a bike for years after. And I literally did my CBT, I did my direct access in like the following week, and then never got on the bike again. And then literally probably 15 years later, went out and bought 650, went straight up the roads and came off it, because all that training I'd done many years ago had completely gone. And over the last few years, I've actually booked myself on various training, courses, and I've gone out one-to-one with other riders to get my confidence back, but also to hone some of those skills. And I think it is, isn't it? It's that danger of people learn once, but then they don't practice.
Yeah, the learning's really isn't deep enough.
No.
Because we're about to come in. Today, I did 300 odd miles today. I've lost count, to be fair, but left this morning at 3 degrees, wrapped up, riding in 13 degrees later on, and there was bikes coming out today, which is great, because we're about to head into what I think is, hopefully, fingers crossed, with the temperatures going up, and there's still salt everywhere, but certainly, we're coming into the new biking season. You're going to have a lot of riders. It happens every year, we know. You're going to be coming out a little bit rusty. What sort of advice would you give to those riders that are coming out now, in terms of whether they want to do something to kind of refresh their skills or just be a little bit more confident?
First thing is pump your tyres up.
That's done. That's done.
That's a good one.
Tom?
A lot of people just forget.
Yeah.
Tyres go down over winter.
Yeah.
The thing is to be easy with yourself. If you don't feel apprehensive, I just get off and go back in the house.
Yeah.
You've got to be aware.
Yeah.
But if you've done a reasonable amount of riding, it comes back very quickly.
Yeah.
But back to the point about the crash on the corner, you lose the back end. if you were taught properly, you should never use the front brake in a corner unless you can stand the bike up and stop in a straight line. Now, as soon as you touch the brake in a corner, the front brake, the bike stands up. It's you can read
100%.
Salter's Motorcycle Dynamics if you want all the equations and everything.
But the thing is, Mike,
But
as
don't
well.
do it.
But for me, was obviously because it's never happened to me before.
Yeah.
You can learn everything and understand how you go around the bend. But when that shear thing happens and catches you off and catches you out, everything else changes then because your perspective changes because you weren't expecting it, and then all of a sudden you've got to think like literally milliseconds of what to do. By that time, those milliseconds you're in a field. I get what you're saying. I 100% agree with what you're saying. But for me, when it happened, I thought I took myself as I was a competent rider, and then it was like a little bit of a 3 steps forward and like 25 back, and then it took me time. But I do understand what you're saying. But it was after the fact that's what caught me out because if I had just gone round the bend and not done any braking, I'd have probably just gone round the bend. But I'd have been on the other side of the road because I'd have had to use more road.
But it's going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah. I
Did
agree.
anybody ever teach you to brake on a bend? Did you ever
no.
practice braking on a bend?
Nope.
Well, you're going to come off then,
Yeah, exactly.
So, Mike, you were saying there about not braking in corners but to lean. So one of the discussions we often have is about lean angles and how far should you lean and what's safe and what isn't. Have you got any thoughts on that?
It's thought to be about 35 degrees is safe on the road.
There you go.
Because
I'm perfect then. So
right. Just less than half.
yeah.
You lean at 45 degrees, it's 1G.
Right.
The total amount of grip you've got is about 1.6 G. So,
and is that because you're on the fatter part of the tyre, Mike, as well? You're keeping more contact with the road, or is it nothing to do?
That's another myth.
All right, okay.
Wow.
Because in theory, it's weight and coefficient of friction,
Right.
not contact area. It obviously does make a difference if it's hugely different. But it's just another one of those.
Sorry, Mike.
It's Keith
Weird
Ewan's
jaws waiting
fault.
to happen here, I think.
Get it on the fat part of the tyre.
Yeah. Sorry,
It's actually fatter when you're leaning over.
Right, I was just obviously shuffling there because I'm a larger gentleman, Mike. I was just thinking I'm going to have to lose some pounds.
I feel like I'm back at school.
It is interesting, that whole lean angle, because obviously now you've got, the BMWs that we certainly ride have got especially in sport mode, have got that lean, and you're always like, well, how far over can I go and what's safe to do? And you don't know, you just go until, I know for a fact when Mike, when I told you about my 48 and I knew at that point I was probably too far over because my centre stand's got a big scrape. It's like was black, it's now got a bit of shiny metal on it. And so I know I've probably gone over too far. But
there's a part of that story he doesn't tell anyone about, and it's the camber of the road.
So he wasn't actually leaning. The road was like that.
It's up in Hartside, and there's a bit that we go around there. But like on the 1250 RS, I managed about a 44, whatever. And obviously now riding the 1300 RS, more sport. So I'm just getting used to a bike that naturally will go over more. But I don't know what is a safe level other than, because of the tight left hand, it's like a bit of a hairpin, isn't it? And it has got a weird camber. And really, it is the only bend that you can get the bike over quite far. But I actually felt after that, because I did it both ways, and both ways was 48, that actually you said, looking at the tyre, I'd probably gone right to the limit.
Yeah, we're right on the edge of the tyre, on the edge.
Where can you go to learn about certainly cornering and doing cornering safely, and what the kind of dynamics around what you talk about there about the friction, the kind of the load on the back tyre and the G's. Where can you go to kind of get the confidence to be able to go and do it properly?
Well, a lot of people try a track day, and there's plenty of people offering track training, but you'll find mostly it's just following another rider around.
Right.
There's a bit of theory. Some of it's okay, some of it isn't. Some of it works even though it's wrong. But you can do a bit on the road as long as you're careful.
Yeah.
But on the road, mostly you have to stop in the distance you can see.
Yeah.
So the only time you can really lean on the corner when you've got a big wide open corner,
Yeah.
and the road surface is so variable nowadays.
Yeah.
100%.
So you're just going to take a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the rule of thumb I say to people, as long as you're not on a sports bike, if something's scraping, you've gone too far.
Yeah. Point noted. and braking. I mean, you talk about braking quite a bit, and certainly I've read a lot about you talking about braking.
Yeah.
Do you want to expand on that in terms of the G? Because I think that on certainly on the new BMWs, there's on the sport model, there's a bit that tells you how much braking force. But what is the kind of? I mean, to be honest, I've looked at it. I've seen
And
it.
Kawasaki's.
Oh, is it?
And
Okay.
Kawasaki, yeah. And there are other motorcycle
Mike, they have
manufacturers.
chains. They have chains.
Yeah. We are counting how many times Andrew says BMW tonight. So.
But interestingly,
The second podcast is wore that BMW t-shirt.
sorry.
He does have two. He does have two.
But I'm really interested to learn about what you do talk about is that most riders can't brake properly, and how do we go about? I mean, you've mentioned obviously going into a car park, but
Yeah.
what do we need to be thinking about, and what do the viewers need to be thinking about in terms of how to practice that and be able to do it safely? If we only get that, if you've just passed your test in the last 10 years, you get that one opportunity, and nobody teaches it.
Well, if you've got ABS, you're a lot safer, and it's just then confidence.
Yeah,
You can snatch the handle; it doesn't matter. If you're on the first generation ABS, you still can go over the handlebars.
right.
So you need to be aware of that. But it happens so slowly, you got a chance to back off on the brake, and you can do it, but it's sort of unusual.
Yeah,
Second generation ABS, you can once again just stamp on the back brake, grab hold of a handful of front brake, and you just need the confidence to do that.
mm-hmm.
But it's when you haven't got ABS, which is the real problem. And the other problem is if you do it on a bend, even with the latest ABS, the bike will still stand up and run wide, or it won't brake, depending on, I guess, the software. So
I learned the hard way.
it is difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, I've trained 100 riders. You say, do you want to try braking from 50, 60? And they go, okay. So, go down a quarry road, couple of cones there, brake at the first cone. And they go miles. And you go back again and say, just squeeze it a little bit harder. You should be stopping by that cone there. And they go back again and they get a lot nearer.
Yeah.
And third or fourth attempt, they're there.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. But if you've never done it and never had to do it, never been taught to do it, never been tested so that you could do it, you're not going to do it.
No.
And is that because people are fearful that they may do a top rack and end up on the front wheel and or everything's going to become unbalanced, the bike itself? Or is it just because they just don't have the confidence?
I think it comes from cycles.
Right, okay.
You've gone over the handlebars of your push bike, or you've locked the front and headbutted the tarmac.
Yeah.
And it feels kind of similar. So I think that's what it is.
And
but it's the problem is it gets a lot scarier the faster you go. The experience takes longer. It's 4 seconds from 60,
And
couple
more
of seconds from
expensive.
30. And it's like doing a handstand.
Yeah.
And if you're really on it, you find you can't actually see where you're going because your head nods forward with the weight of your helmet. So you end up looking at your front tyre.
Yeah.
But very few people have ever experienced it. As I say, you don't learn it. If you can't do it, then you're just vulnerable.
Yeah,
Just waiting for something to pull out and you won't stop.
Yeah, I think
It's as simple as that.
I think when we all did our bike test, I think it was a case of 30 miles an hour, and when I say stop, and that was it, isn't it? And, and as long as you stop in a straight line and in control of the vehicle, that was considered to be adequate in a pass.
Yeah.
Well, they could data log you. The highway code's 0.67 G.
Wow.
You can stop at 0.9 G. You can hit 1.2 G briefly while the bike sort of pitches forward. But if you can stop at 0.9 G, you can stop in 25% less than the highway code distance.
Yeah.
And you've
And
mentioned,
that's quite a lot.
yeah, and you've mentioned, I mean, certainly go and get one of these data loggers, which, or if we can work out what the data means on the bike, I won't mention the bike, but you mentioned getting one of these data loggers and actually going and maybe practicing that in a safe environment and seeing what you can, and you mentioned that it's breaking at 0.7 and 0.9 is a big difference. What does that kind of mean in real terms, in real world terms, that difference?
Yeah, you can do it. There's an app called little I, capital A, CCEL, IXL.
Yeah.
But it's only available on iPhone now
Right.
because it's been so unpopular on Google.
Right.
And it's very simple. It's got very low sampling rate. We use a Curvex data logger, which the manufacturer has lent me.
Yeah.
And that has got a sampling rate of 20 hertz. So you can actually see somebody through the braking cycle, how well they applied the brake, whether they kept it on. You can see where they've skidded. And that's really useful. And that's how you get to 0.9. It's weird when you see people, they brake quite hard initially, and then they seem to go to sleep halfway through, and the braking rate drops.
Yeah.
So you just tell them, keep it on it.
I know what you're on about, Mike, because obviously you're talking about the cone thing and all that. I've done that part of the training. I went to a local company that, well, it's not local, it's all over the UK, but for a day's training and that, and they were doing the braking thing for the cones, and it's weird, like the different compression as you pull the brake, you take up the slack, and then you pull in. And how you stop, and because we were doing it up to 50 mile an hour, and to stop right next to him by the cone. The first time I did it, I went straight past him because you're trying to judge it, and you either pull the brake too hard and you slow down before the person, or you'll shoot straight past. So it was the best bit of training I did, and I've put that into practice now after my accident, and thinking about stuff and put it logically. But yeah, I do get what you're saying, because it isn't as easy as people think. It just takes a lot of practice, and you need somewhere safe to just understand how your bike brakes and how you brake.
The problem is, if you take the road safety community, they all drive cars. What do you do in an emergency in a car? Stamp on the brake.
Yeah.
What's it with you guys on two wheels? How difficult is that?
Yeah.
I can feel a bit of a little exercise, a little bit of content being created here. I think we'll be able to go, won't we, in a safe place? That's for sure.
I've got a nice big car park we can borrow.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he has as well.
Mike, you need to come up.
Yeah. Well, I could give you bring me Curvex data logger, and you can actually see how you're doing.
I'm just waiting for the invitation for us all to come down and be proper riders after doing one of your courses.
Well, you're always welcome. We're not on the track this year, but we will be back next year.
Right. What's your advice then? Right, as I said, going back to the question that people are getting the bikes back out now, is there any particular courses out there you think is worth going doing?
Bike safe is always worthwhile. I mean, I used to be a civilian assessor for Lynx Bike Safe.
Okay.
So, and I did bike safe with Lynx before I trained up, and after getting trained, I could go back then and just be a volunteer assessor, and it's good. The problem with bike safe, which the MPCC are aware of, is that some of the riders pass on their emergency response and pursuit tactics.
Right.
And that is the root cause of the problems in advanced training. That's why it doesn't work.
Do you want to expand on that?
It's a weird situation. The DVSA sort of take responsibility up to post-test, and then they hand the rest over to the police. And it's weird because you've got bike safe, then you've got the enhanced rider scheme, so you're back with the DVSA, and then you're on to advanced, and you're back with the police again.
Right.
And they are trying to do something about it, and you've got a lot of ex-police riders providing advanced training, some commercially, and they pass on their practices. And they seem to forget they've been carefully selected, continuously trained. They ride every day nearly. They're riding at high speed And I genuinely think most of them are trying to be helpful,
Right.
but they're putting riders at risk.
Interesting.
Classic thing, it's called offsiding.
Right.
You take a left-hand bend from the right-hand gutter. The police are supposed to have stopped doing it, 1980s, but they're still doing it. And it's a risk. You can see around the corner better, see and be seen. But the trouble is nobody expects you to be there. And it's like that, taking every opportunity to overtake, filter,
Yeah.
going straight on from right-hand turn lanes, crosshatch areas, you have to take every opportunity to overtake. And the public should never be in a hurry.
Yeah.
And the standard thing is it safe? But is it necessary?
Yeah.
And often it isn't necessary to overtake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's certainly not because of the chance you take when you do it. You're never really sure what's going to happen. But that's my opinion of what's wrong with it. I don't know whether have you seen the Agilicis report for
No.
national highways?
No.
They could find no benefits whatsoever from any advanced train.
Wow.
Wow.
And they did one for the IM, which to their great credit, they published. Apparently 2 others haven't been published. And if you're an IM rider, you're going to fall off just as often, but you'll be doing a bit more miles.
We've both fallen off. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. You'll have,
No.
you'll have
we
different
fallen off?
types of collisions. You'll be more likely to blame others, and you're more likely to drop your bike.
I've done all of them except blame myself.
I blamed you.
And
And it is a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know.
That's really surprised
Yeah.
me, Mike, to be honest, because I was quite proud of the fact that I did the IM and
Yeah.
did it, passed, got a really good mark, if you like. But then again, I mean, as certainly Bob Brown said, because I'd had that, with Great Rides, I'd had a lot of kind of reading the road knowledge, which was fine. But yeah, in terms of, I felt like I was a more competent rider after doing that. But that was personally how I felt, because I think that I felt that I'd had that kind of level of training.
Yeah.
And yep, great, you're a great rider, fantastic. But then I fell off. I was going on a bend. That's all. To be fair, it was Sunday afternoon. Shouldn't really have gone out, and it's a very, very thin road. And normally I'd be right over the left to see around the right hand bend. I was kind of in the middle of the car. I didn't expect the car to come around, so for me I just tried to avoid it, and I went in the ditch.
But you have to appreciate there's a lot of people putting a lot of time, volunteers, with the best intentions.
Yeah,
So you can't really blame them.
no,
But the problem is the structure is police riding.
interesting.
I think as well, you get a bit complacent as well. So when you've done your advanced, you think, oh yeah, I'm the daddy now. But you're not really, because like I said, my dad always told me, when you pass your driving test, you've passed your driving test. Now you start to learn how to drive.
Yeah.
And that's where like I did, but it was only like 6 months later, I put a V in my dad's Volvo when I lamp was. So yeah, it's all this type of thing. So every day you go out, you learn something new, whether it's a good or bad. Biggest thing is picking up bad habits, I think. But Mike, what do you think? Is it, because obviously you can follow people, but if they're not doing it right, you're not doing it right. Do you know what I mean? It's all about the instructor.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, most instructors ride reasonably well.
Yeah.
But if you've got an ex-police or a police rider, he's going to ride the way he normally rides.
Yeah.
Only he's going to probably stick to the speed limit or somewhere near. It's quite amusing, actually. I've had 2 police riders come on the enhanced rider scheme as a sort of both retired, as a sort of a catch you up, which is good. They're so easy to spot. They all got 85 miles an hour.
And on the right hand side of the road.
Yeah, and it's weird because I don't say anything. They don't. I used to think it was the DVSA doing a secret shopper on me.
Undercover
But
boss.
we get to the end, and I say to them, "When did you retire from the force?" And it's like you've slapped them on the face. And I said, how do you know that?
Try to impress the teacher.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
It's
You know?
strange. There's a road quite local to us where there's a car park and it's got a great vantage point. I don't want to say which police force or which area it is, but there's a car park at the top and you can see the twisty road for quite a distance. And I remember being stood at the top there one day when a police rider came along.
Yes.
And he basically straightened out every bend. So, he was on either sides of the road. And I suppose they do that thing, don't they, if it's safe to do so. But he could see a good distance down around these bends. And there's me as an ordinary rider trying to keep to my lane. And I'm just thinking, maybe and you're losing speed and you're scrubbing speed off. And I'm not talking about excessive speeds, just normal road legal speed. But he just seemed to make it look so effortless on this very upright RT that he was riding, and he just looked poetry in motion. But the rest of us, maybe don't have that skill or that training level. But you would identify straight away if he was on an ordinary bike. You'd say, "There's a police rider." There is somebody that
Dead giveaway, isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, they are very good.
Yeah.
They're very well trained, and they don't have that many accidents, but they are at risk.
Yeah.
And the problem is, as a civilian rider, you're not on a marked bike. You haven't been trained anything like to the same standard. You haven't had the practice.
Yeah.
So you're going to be at risk.
Yeah.
Just following somebody around. It makes you laugh. Some of the track days when you're doing training, you're following one of the BSP riders, and you think, oh, I'm doing quite well. The guy's bored out of his mind. So it's difficult.
Yeah.
Just going back to what you mentioned, obviously crashes on bends. One of the other big problems is junctions. I mean, we know someone that was wiped out on a junction as well, and it's a very big problem. What's your best sort of junction survival advice, if you like?
Yeah, assume you're invisible.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do, really.
And scrub the speed off.
The other thing is the standard thing of watching the front wheel of vehicles about to emerge, because that gives you the earliest warning that it's starting to move. But I mean, drivers will look straight at you and pull out in front of you.
Yeah.
They're not actually focused on you.
I think
So you just have to assume you're invisible.
You had it the other week.
I had it, a couple of weeks ago, and I saw this van pulling out, and I'd seen him, and for me, I made a mistake because I thought actually he's started to go. I started to scrub some speed off, thinking he'll be out the way. But then he had a 12-foot trailer on the back, and it wasn't the van. I nearly went into the back of the trailer. He was towing, and he'd obviously forgotten he had the trailer on the back, and so all these guys heard in the comms was, well, I won't tell you what they heard in the comms.
The air went blue. But
it went blue.
The other thing I remember picking up on again the IM is the moving around on the road as well, coming to a junction just to try, because they're not programmed to see us, are they? We make up such a small percentage of the vehicle population, if you like, and certainly this time of the year they're not used to seeing us, and then we're suddenly there again, and they just don't. I mean, there's been lots of studies, hasn't there, in terms of whether they actually, if there's a truck behind it, they'll just see the truck, they won't see the bike. So is moving around the road advantageous, or does that? What's your thoughts on that? I mean, other than be aware and that you're invisible, but is there anything you can do in terms of your road position?
Other road users will wonder what the hell you're doing.
You're warming up my tyres.
And you won't be in the right position.
Yeah.
You position yourself to have the best view to see and be seen. And I don't know if it probably makes a bit of a difference if you're wiggling about, but one of the problems is if you're wiggling from side to side and you have to brake, you ain't going to be upright.
Interesting.
So it's going to take you longer to stop. So just assume you're invisible.
So what about the staggered formation when we obviously ride? We ride in the staggered formation.
Yeah.
That must have a bit more of an impact for visual for the driver, is it? Yes,
sure,
no?
yeah. The more riders are the better. But there's a lot of multiple motorcycle crashes. That's the only other problem.
Yeah.
When you think about it, if you're staggered and it's normally a second, so you're 2 seconds sort of behind the rider in front, but there's one in between
Yeah.
over one side.
So just going back to Martin talking about the van pulling out with the trailer,
Yeah.
it was myself, Andrew, and Tom had already just passed him. So when we went past him, he just thought, oh, there's the bike's gone.
Yeah.
Didn't think of any other bikes, and I think that's why you pulled out.
Yeah.
So you were invisible, like Mike said,
That's
you were
it,
invisible,
yeah.
so you didn't see you.
Yeah.
Literally didn't see you.
Whereas if but also if we'd been riding too close together and he'd taken out you, we probably all would have been taken out. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's difficult. There's a thing called the science of being seen.
Okay.
Kevin, you can't remember his second name, does it? And it's part of Biker Down.
Yeah.
But anything that helps riders realise that they're not going to be seen, it's got to be good.
Yeah. Just there's something about data that you've expressed some thoughts on as well in terms of the crash statistics as being quite poor that's been reported. What would you say is missing from that data?
What sort of contributory factors?
Yeah, certainly.
You mean?
Yeah, because telematics data is on vehicles now. I mean, obviously we don't want to push for that on motorcycles, but the stats that you get reported are they kind of missing things?
They very rarely collect the data. They're known as EDRs,
Right.
event data recorders. And I happen to inform you, you've probably got one on your bike. It's just not publicised because somebody's not going to buy one. If they know when they have an accident, somebody's going to know exactly what they've been doing.
Okay.
Where's it by, Mike?
I have an old KTM, 2007, so I am safe. But no, the police, I don't think they're trained. I don't think they have the equipment. And it's not a priority. But when you think now with helmet cams, dash cams, traffic cams, EDRs on vehicles, you could actually reconstruct a number of collisions and you'd know pretty well what the factors were.
Yeah.
And you find out immediately with bikes they can't stop. I think if they got themselves organised, with modern software, it would be probably quite easy. But knowing what it's like, everybody's got different software. And I'll just tell you one story. One of my friends has got a new BMW. What we're talking about.
His name's not Andrew, is it?
Don't laugh. Don't laugh.
He came out at the end of his road, a bit enthusiastic at the throttle, lost the back end, and the thing's sort of spinning around on its own in the middle of the road, and he's chasing it, trying to stop it. And he stops it, and then sort of takes a big sigh of relief. His phone rings. He picks it up. It's BMW. Saying, "Are you all right?"
Yeah.
And that technology's been around in cars for over a decade.
Do you think those things are useful?
Definitely. I mean, one of the problems is if you have a crash out on a rural road, is somebody might know for quite a few hours.
Yeah.
So, I mean, an app on your phone is the obvious thing because you've got accelerometers in the phone, and if you could slide off and be unlucky, but if you hit anything, anything over 1.5 G or 2 G, just alerts the emergency services.
Yeah.
And that's got to be a good thing.
There might be something coming.
Yes, there might be.
There might be something coming in the future about that. We'll have that as a testimonial. Thanks, Mike.
Watch your space. So, Mike, I think we've been talking a lot of things tonight around safety and good practice on roads, but. I'm thinking, if there's people who are watching the podcast and thinking, I'm looking to get into biking, it all sounds a bit serious and a bit sensible. Can biking still be fun?
Oh, absolutely. You've just got to make certain you're trained properly, and it's difficult with the current structure, but there are people around that can train you. You've got the Enhanced Rider Scheme. They're all proper licensed trainers. They've had a minimum of a week's training. You know, they know how to train. They know how to ride, and they're there.
Great.
But they only do 1,000 a year,
Yeah.
Where would you go?
and it's not expensive.
Right.
It's sort of 200, 250 quid for the day,
Okay,
and
okay.
it's you've got bike safe.
Yeah.
I'd recommend the IM and ROSPA and
Yeah.
anything,
Great.
Yeah.
but you need a sanity check.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
don't do anything that you don't feel is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if
Yeah.
I tell you about my ROSPA training, which they changed the year after we all complained, it would make the hair on your head stand up, you know, because it was typical ex-police. It was like
Yeah.
boot camp, but they don't do it anymore,
Yeah.
hopefully.
And the thing is, you know, we all want to go out there. We want to enjoy riding bikes. We want to have fun. But at the end of the day, we all want to come back safe as well.
Yeah,
And that's
safely.
really important. Really important.
It is, but it's such a fantastic experience.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when you actually get competent, and yeah, you're a bit apprehensive, and you need to stay alert. There's nothing like it. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be half as dangerous as it is. You know, but I
Yeah.
don't know whether you're aware of the problem with young riders, are you?
No, I was going to come on to that. I mean, Tom, technically not necessarily a young rider, but I think having been involved in road safety for quite a long time, it never goes away, you know, in terms of. But what do you think specifically is the problem with the young riders at the moment?
Well, 40% of young riders below the age of 19 are underage.
Right.
Some of the others won't have a license.
Okay, so you mean
they call it dirty riding.
okay.
Right.
So you
So
mean
it's
they're
probably
riding?
somewhere between half and 80% of the problem.
Okay, so you mean these are younger riders who haven't taken their test? They're just jumping on bikes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite a big
And to be
The
honest,
worst thing is it's gone up 50%
wow.
since just before COVID.
Yeah.
And is that urban riding, Mike, or is that country roads?
It's mostly urban riding, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I'll be honest, you know, we've all seen the, you know, young lads with balaclavas riding around and,
Yeah.
and I think that's the thing, isn't it? You know, I've seen, you know, young lads riding around massive bikes and I'm thinking, how in the earth are you doing that? And then you suddenly realise they haven't passed their test. They just got a bike and they're riding it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I think about my youth, and I was a teenager in the 80s. All of my sort of mates all wanted to have bikes.
Yeah.
All of them all went like the ER50s and things like Suzuki's and things that were out at that point in the back end of the 70s, early 80s. And then went on to Honda 125s and went through the actual process to do their bike test. And I don't see a great deal of young people wanting to learn to ride a motorcycle anymore.
Yeah.
You don't see a great deal, and it's always when you see somebody with an L plate on, you think, "Oh, great, there's somebody that's going to continue." And you do see those people, Martin, you've just described.
Yeah.
You do see those people, which always a little bit it grieves me a little bit because I just feel like we all get labelled as motorcyclists, and
Yeah.
am I just being a bit snobby? I don't know. I don't know where the young people are, but it's interesting to learn from Mike tonight, you know, that huge number of urban riders that are getting caused in accidents or being knocked off vehicles or crashing vehicles or whatever.
And I suppose the other element is, I mean, I was reading an article the other day saying that, you know, if you're a young person, and I'm sounding really old now, then actually getting into biking it's too expensive. So by the time you've paid for your test, you've bought the protective gear, you've bought your bike, then let alone trying to insure something as a young, you know, so you can see why people are taking that risk and just saying, I won't bother, I'll just jump straight on.
Sorry, you've just lit another match underneath me. I hate to see people riding the bike in
Flip-flops.
or just not wearing the proper kit. It drives me balmy. I just think, you know, people need to wear the appropriate legal
But
kit.
they only legally need to wear a helmet.
Yeah, and well, yes. And so my statement's a bit silly there, saying legal kit. they should be wearing, and I think that's government need to maybe look at that as well and say, if you're riding a bike, you need to be wearing these things as a minimum. Sorry, I went on a rant there, Mike. Sorry about that.
I've got some what we class as, I don't know, going to be controversial, but some questions we're going to ask you. So what would you say is the biggest myth in motorcycling right now?
I suppose the myth is that you can stop from high speed,
Right.
and it's not a problem. I mean, it's not so much a myth; it's just nobody actually realises it. The other myth is this: trading the front brake into corners gives you more grip and more feel, and it's more sensible and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's marketing, in my opinion. It's nothing to do with common sense. But, I would say to people, forget all the biking thing. If you're in a car, do you feel safer braking into a corner or braking before a corner than driving round? Same thing.
Yeah.
A couple of extra wheels, but
And what?
I think that's it. A lot of people don't understand grip, and it is complicated because obviously it moves from front to back, and it's limited.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't really get anywhere near using up all your grip apart from your rear brake. So that's the only real danger you've got, is snatching the front or not releasing the rear brake as the weight goes forward. So
Makes sense.
but a lot of rubbish talked about grip, unfortunately, and what's best to do and feeling for grip and stuff like that. I mean, that's such a ridiculous thing. I mean, if you're Rossi, you're lent at 60 degrees, and the bike the tyres are designed to slip. It's like understeer.
Yeah.
So the top guys are going into a corner, and it's not quite going on the line they wanted, and they know they've very slightly overdone it. And to suggest that you could do that on the road is just ludicrous.
There's a lovely clip out at the moment, Mike, where one of the old riders is talking about Marquez coming into a corner. And you see Marquez riding this beautiful Ducati coming into a corner, braking hard, and he's talking about how the front of the bike collapses down towards the front wheel, and yet the back wheel doesn't come up because of the technology that's in the bike. And then he talks about him going into the corner, and you can see he's still on the front brake going into the corner, and then he takes his hand off the front brake and he starts applying the back brake to pull the bike in again into the apex. And he's talking about all this, and you think, yeah, that's great, but I'm not Marquez. I'm not Marquez. I'm Andy from Teesside.
And also, if you come off, you've got a runoff area and a bit of a gravel. If you come off on the road, you're in a ditch, in a field, in a bush,
up a tree.
And it's a fabulous clip, and I love Marquez. I think it's absolutely fabulous, just like Rossi.
And you lost me halfway through what you were explaining. Then
Sorry.
But the thing is, they're on the same bit of tarmac. They've gone round the corner 1,000 times before.
yeah.
There's no new hazards.
Mike, I just got one quick one for you. So when you're talking about grip, so obviously grip in the wet and grip in the dry are completely different. That's controversial. People say that you've still got the same amount of grip in the wet as you do in the dry. How do you see that?
It's actually pretty close.
Okay.
The problem is if the water sort of gets between the tyre and the road. So if you've got standing water or water running across the road, it can sort of lift the tyre up. It's a bit like aquaplaning.
Right.
But if you look at the videos, you can get the back wheel in the air on a wet road.
Okay.
You've just got to be more careful not to snatch the brakes.
Yeah.
And you can't lean quite as far, but that shouldn't really affect road riders.
Okay.
So only about 45
I think that's
degrees
one of the
then.
other problems. When it's raining, everybody's frightened to brake.
Yeah.
And once again, when did you last practice braking in the wet?
Yes.
And
It's the last thing you're going to do, isn't it?
and tire pressures as well, Mike.
Yeah. They do make a difference. They do on a track. I'm not totally certain on the road, as long as you're within a few PSI. It doesn't really make a lot of difference.
That was my next question, was to do with
Yeah.
PSI. Because obviously the manufacturers say, depending obviously for the bike and then for the tyre, it would be like 36 in the front and 42 in the back. But obviously, every time I go out, before I go out, I check my tyre pressures and put them as close as you can to that. But it's either way, it doesn't really make much difference as long as you're within 1 or 2 psi, maybe below or above. Is that right or wrong?
Yeah, I don't think it makes a lot of difference. It alters the running temperature of the tyre, but that varies a lot depending on how quickly you're going.
Okay.
All I can tell you, the last time I was at Donington, my tyre pressure gauge was slightly low and I melted the front tyre of my R6. But that's really unusual, and it was a really hot day, and that was me being stupid.
I used to have one of them, by the way. I loved
Here we go.
Yeah, 1999 R6. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
That's all he talks about when we're out. Is like,
Would stop on a stamp that bike.
Yeah.
You said you had no front brake.
No, that was on a Honda CBR 600. But yeah, I had a GSX 600 as well. But I much preferred the Yamaha. It was a fabulous bike.
Wow.
Yeah. So talking about that, we've been asking our guests and we've been asking ourselves, what would be your dream bike?
I really like the 660 Aprilia.
Ooh.
And I sat on it in the Superbike factory, and I thought I've got to have one of these. Then I went home, and I looked at my 1999 RC, and thought, it's older.
That's a
It
nice
looks
bike.
as nice.
Very nice bike.
Tom's
It's
just,
a bit quicker.
It's a
Why
bit,
the hell buy a new bike?
it's a lovely bike.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
fab.
Tom just brought that up on the screen. Yeah, that's a very lovely bike.
Yeah.
So we'll drop that in the edit, Tom, won't you? You'll put that in.
See us all drooling, that's why.
Yeah.
Anything to do with bikes, we end up drooling.
I've kind of got, before we go on to the kind of those questions we normally asking, I think it's kind of to get your view on it. If you had £10 million to improve rider safety, what would you do?
Well, I'd get some independent research on emergency braking, starting in a straight line.
Yeah.
And then I'd set up centres nationally. We need about 1,000 feet of tarmac and try and get people to come and have a go.
Yeah.
And make certain there was a team of paramedics there for those people without ABS. And just train as many riders as I could.
Mike, I got a quick one for you then. Do you think advanced training should be mandatory?
Not as it is at the moment.
Interesting.
You really need your CPD, your continual professional development, really. But it needs structuring properly. The annoying thing is the enhanced rider scheme, the DVSA, ticks all the boxes, but it's never promoted. I don't quite know why it sort of started not that well and got worse, just deteriorated. They're only doing 1,000 a year. Bike safe 7,500.
Okay.
So you need to promote it. What I would do is for commercial testing, make certain everybody is regulated. So they're a DVSA licensed trainer.
Yeah.
There's an argument that would require a change in the law. But when you think every other vehicle, you need to be a licensed trainer to train commercially on the road, but not a motorbike.
Interesting.
Not for the most dangerous
Wow.
road users, the ones at the highest risk. It's just nuts.
Yeah, the most vulnerable.
So
Yeah.
it needs doing. The whole structure's there, training, licensing, check testing, standards, the whole shebang. But nobody's interested.
So just for those that are listening, what can the average rider listening today do this week to reduce their risk? Bearing in mind we're about to go into what I would say is the biking season again. What can they be doing other than, I think, braking in a straight line, pumping their tyres up, the other things you mentioned? What would you recommend?
Yeah, I'd say braking, of course, but just really taking it easy.
Yeah.
Is it safe, but is it necessary?
That's a good solid.
There's loads of advice. There's the I'm safe thing. Are you feeling okay? The one thing I always tell people on our track days I ask everybody to put their hands up if they were snorting coke the night before, and nobody ever does. And then I say,
Surprise.
who's been smoking weed the night before? Nobody ever does. And they all look at me and I say, the reason I've asked that question is if you were snorting coke last night, you'll be all right today. If you're smoking marijuana, you won't.
I don't know whether that's actually advice, Mike. We'll have to get some consultation on that.
You are talking about Coca-Cola, aren't you?
He's not allowed it anyway. So do you want to, I know we normally ask...
Well, yeah, I've got a few questions, just quick fire questions, but just going back to the track day, is that in Links? Is that at Cadwell Park then, Mike? You do the track
we
days?
used to be at Blyton Park, and we're not anymore. And it's I don't really want to discuss it.
That's fine.
Right, okay.
We've had to give this year a break on the tracks, and we're back finding an alternative venue for next year.
Right.
So we're actually concentrating on road training this year.
Oh,
Interesting.
And we're launching a national service around Easter time, and there'll all be DVSA enhanced rider scheme licensed trainers. So we've got a year on the road.
Oh, wonderful.
We might have to sign up for that.
I think I've been saying this for a while, Mike. I think we need to come down and show you how bad we really are. I think that the first thing you're going to get us to do is a straight line break, and then we're all going to be very competitive about who can pull a 0.9 G. But I think we definitely want to do. And what we could probably do is that we'll bring some cameras. I mean, I've talked about this before, Mike, but I think let's bring some cameras. I think personally, I really want to come and do it, and certainly having that incident a few years ago. It does undermine your confidence a little bit for some time when you get back on the bike, but then you quickly forget it. But I think we all want to be the best kind of riders that we can be, but it's like, where do we go and do that, So I think that if you're open for us to come down, then absolutely we'd love to do that, and maybe if it ties in with what you're about to announce or what's coming, I think that would be quite good. We can certainly put that on the podcast, or maybe put it on the channel. I think that would work quite well. Go on then, ask there.
So we've got a few quick fire questions for you, Mike, and we've already asked you one of them, which is about if money was no object, what bike up would you buy? So I'm just interested to learn who was or who is your motorcycle hero.
It's got to be Kenny Roberts.
Oh,
good one. Good one.
Oh,
shelf.
now that could really open up a lot of debate, couldn't it? Because I've got the other guy up on the wall up here, from that very famous race with Kenny, where I think Kenny still won that race, or didn't he? When Barry did a rude gesture behind his back.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, were you there?
You don't look old enough, Mike.
See, the reason Barry lost it was Carl Fogarty's dad.
Oh, right.
Got in the way.
Got some big names going on here.
Wow. Yeah. I remember watching that on TV, watching that race on TV. At that time, motorcycle racing was all over TV, wasn't it? It was all over the sports channels, and then it seems to have gone on to satellite TV now. But Kenny Roberts were great shout. Favourite place to ride your bike?
Well, I spent 3 weeks riding around New Zealand. And you can't beat it.
Do you know we do have somebody who's a fan of the show keeps asking to inviting us. He's got a house in New Zealand. Keeps asking to go down and ride in New Zealand. And I think,
maybe we will.
Is it really that good? But on your recommendation, I think we need to start looking at flights.
It's fantastic.
Is it?
The people are lovely.
Yeah.
It's like going back 50 years.
Right.
You don't have to lock your bike. There's not many dual carriageways. You need a supermoto.
That sounds even better.
It's all bends and twists. And,
Does that come?
it's just lovely.
Does that come with the?
You've got everything from glaciers to sort of semi-tropical rainforests. So
wow,
everything.
It does come with a chain.
Yeah, but I have to learn how to maintain a chain.
And final question, Mike, is if you're going out and you had a couple of quid in your pocket and you're going to go and buy an accessory, what would it be? Would it be a helmet? Would it be boots? Would it be gloves? What would it be? Or something else?
That's interesting. I'd probably buy a data logger. I mean, I've got one. I've got a Curvex one. But if I didn't have one, having got one and used it, it's about the most useful thing you can do, because you can rerun your rides and see your lean
Interesting.
angles, braking, accelerating. It gives you an opportunity to really sort of analyze your riding in detail.
Wow.
And to be honest, I've got so many jackets, boots. I think I've got 20 pairs of gloves at least.
Yeah.
So, 3 bikes. So I don't really need anything else, to be honest.
How many helmets, Mike?
I've got 3 current ones, and I've thrown the rest away.
That's okay. I
But
can
must
tell my
have had
wife.
30.
I can tell my wife you've got more helmets than me, so I can get a new one.
Is there any particular brand that you're loyal to, Mike, or is it more to do with a particular style of a helmet, or are you brand loyal?
No. I always tell the story. Heingerika, when they were around, did some fantastic gear. And this Gore-Tex jacket, which I sort of hung my nose over, but it was over 500 quid. And they used to, at Lincoln Showground, the end of the year, have a sale of all their returns.
Oh, wow.
So I go over there at 3 o'clock, because then I don't have to pay to get in. And I'm there in their tent, and I find one of these jackets. It's got one popper missing, and it says 50 quid on it. And I'm standing there looking at it, thinking it's got to be worth 50 quid. And then a voice come over the tannoy, any jacket 30 quid.
Oh,
So
wow.
I rushed to the till. So, but it's difficult. It's very difficult knowing you're going to get good value for money.
Yeah.
There are obviously top brands that you can rely on. I've got Dainese kit, which I've always found really good. But it's difficult. It's difficult because a lot of it's marketing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Great. From the team, thank you very much, Mike, for coming on and giving us some very interesting things to think about, and also the viewers to think about, and probably the industry to think about. But yeah, I think definitely we'll get that in the diary, and we'll come down and show you how bad we are.
Be kind, Mike. Be kind.
Be very kind.
You won't be the worst.
Oh, you haven't seen us yet.
And we are competitively
great.
the worst.
No, I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank
Great.
you.
It's been really interesting.
Thanks again, Mike.
I mean,
And
generally speaking, I'm talking to myself most of the time, so it makes a change to have an audience.
fantastic.
Loved
Great.
it.
Right, we'll see you all in the next episode of the podcast, and you can like and subscribe if you want to. But we'll be back next time with some more interesting guests. Goodbye for now.